Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring. On today's episode, we're going to be giving you the step-by-step guide to update your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis vehicle software and navigation using just an SD card or a flash drive and your computer. So make sure you stay tuned. We're coming right back at you. All right, everybody, well, welcome back. So like I was saying, we are going to be showing you the step-by-step process to update your software and navigation, meaning your maps, of your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis vehicle. They are all exactly the same as far as the update process goes. So we're going to start with how to get the software to download it and install it onto your flash drive or SD card. And then we're going to show you how to do it in the vehicle itself. It's pretty simple, and the Kia, Genesis, and Hyundai are very similar processes, so really not much is going to be different between the three different manufacturers, but we're going to show you everything that you need to do right here. But let's start with some ground rules. So before we go any further, you have to make sure one thing. If you have an older Hyundai, which means about 2019 or so, and older, you're probably going to be using a SD card. Now, you'll probably have an SD card somewhere along the screen of your vehicle. It's probably going to be in a little slot either below the screen or above it or around it or somewhere around there. There should be an SD card slot. That SD card is what holds the information and the maps and all the stuff that needs to be done to use the navigation in that vehicle. And so you may or may not need a new card depending on how big the update is, depending on the year and model of your vehicle. If you do not have an SD card in your vehicle, then that means you have to do the update with a flash drive. So if you have just a flash drive that's big enough to hold the data on it, then that's what you're going to be using to plug into the vehicle, do the update, and then everything gets stored on the vehicle itself. You won't have to keep the flash drive in once it's done. Now, if you do not have navigation in your vehicle, but you're still looking to update the software, this is not the video for you. You're gonna wanna click on this video right up here to show you how to do it on non-navigation vehicles, or you could go down in the description below. We'll have a link there as well for you to check out. And once again, that just requires a flash drive to update your non-navigation Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis. So on today's episode, we're going to go ahead and show you how to do this on a Genesis. So we're actually going to be doing the process for Genesis, but I'm going to show you how to download the software, how to get the drive prepped, and then we're going to go ahead and go through that process step by step. So let's first start by going to the Hyundai website. Now, regardless of if you go to the Hyundai, the Kia, or the Genesis website, you're going to download the exact same software. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do it from the Hyundai website because it's the easiest to get to the software from that main page. And also keep in mind that we're going to be doing this using the United States website. So if you're going to be going from this from another country, it may vary depending on where you're from, or if you're in, let's say, later in the future, you may not actually see the exact same website. So things may change, things may shift around, but the process will be the same ultimately. So let's jump in and take a look at what we have to do next on the website. All right, everybody. So at this point, you should be on the Hyundai website. You could, once again, do it from Kia's or from the Genesis site. Once again, I just like doing it from the Hyundai site because it's a little bit easier. You've already identified whether or not your vehicle has an SD card for your updates, or if you're going to be utilizing the flash drive method because you have a newer vehicle. So from the main site here, what you want to do is go to the owner's thing at the top here, and then you're going to click on that. You're going to click on the blue link, multimedia and map updates section. Click on that, and right here you're going to see the update area. So right here you can see the notifications. The newest update is from May 4th of 2023. And right here you can see the navigation updater download. You're gonna click on that if you don't already have it installed. You're gonna download it for your respective operating system, whether you're using a Windows operating system or a Mac operating system. And at that point, what you wanna do is just download the software and install it like any other piece of software. So just make sure when you download it, install it, make sure it looks good, and then it's going to be called the navigation updater software on your computer. At least that's what it's called on a Windows computer. So let's go back one piece here. So we see here under notifications, we're going to go ahead and click on notifications here, and you can see right now that we're looking at a very simple screen here that shows the May 2023 navigation map and software update, or you also have the display audio software update. Once again, that is the non-navigation version. Now, if you happen to see that this is the Hyundai website, once again, if you were to browse to the Kia website, you would see that this looks exactly the same. And of course, the same goes for the Genesis website. This is all exactly the same, which is why I tell you that it doesn't matter how you get there. You're downloading the exact same thing. The information is all the same. Really, the navigation in all those vehicles uses the same operating system or platform, which is why it doesn't really matter where you're getting this from. And you'll see that again once we open up the software. Let's just click on the May 2023 navigation map and software update because I want to show you a couple things in here. First things first, you'll see right here at the top, there's a box here that says list of eligible vehicles available to download. If you click on this, you'll immediately see that there is a list of every single compatible vehicle for this update. And you can see it goes back to as early as like 2015. It all really depends on the model of the vehicle, and what radio you have in that vehicle will depend on whether or not the upgrade is even compatible with your car. So you can look through this list and you can see if your vehicle is listed in this list. If it is, awesome, that means you'll get the update. If it's not, you could still download the software and you could see if it's listed in the software. You can do it either way, it's your choice. But let's go back. Here we see the new features, which this is everything that's been updated since the last update, which is about every 6 months. Usually Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, they release their updates every 6 months, or roughly twice a year. It all depends. Sometimes they're a month or so late. And here you can see new features, EV route planning. Are you worried about where to charge your electric vehicle when traveling long distances? Now the navigation system adds charging stations as waypoints automatically. You can travel long distances without worry, even when the remaining battery charge is low. So a cool little feature for you EV owners out there. You have a little bit extra help when it comes to getting your vehicle charged, especially if you're on like a road trip. Really nice to see that Hyundai, Kia, Genesis is doing this update for their vehicles. Next one down here is quite the opposite. Provides frequently visited charging stations information. View the gas stations that you frequently by selecting navigation points of interest categories gas stations near current position. The system will show you a list of gas stations near the vehicle's current location and will identify the ones visited several times recently. All right, so that's a kind of a weird thing. It shows provides frequently visited charging stations and then it refers to gas stations, but that's okay. It's an update for vehicles with gas motors in them, so there you go. This shows you here types of audio systems available to update. So this is basically saying that if you have the standard class Gen 4 navigation, 7 and 8 inch touchscreen, which goes back to about the 2016, 2017, maybe 2018, somewhere around there. The standard class Gen 5, which is like 2018, 1920, something like that. It all depends on the model as well. And then of course you got the bigger systems, and as the newer cars come out, they have an even bigger screen and everything. So that's all this listed here. Once again, you just have to go by if your car is listed in that compatibility list or not. And then we have new features available after the audio system map update, vary by model and platform. And yeah, so that's pretty much all of that. Now there's also these disclaimers down here, and I'll just kind of breeze over the disclaimers real quick. And basically what they say is, if your car has an SD card, all right, one of these little SD cards, you have to use an SD card in order to do the update. You cannot use a flash drive, all right? So if you have an SD card, you're gonna wanna use that SD card, or you can actually just buy a new SD card and use that one instead if you're afraid of messing up the original one. Keep in mind that once you update the software, you can't put the old one back in. It has to be the newest card with the newest update on it. So make sure you remember that. So that's one of the things you want to remember, is that if your car does not have an SD card, well, you have no choice. You have to use a flash drive at that point. Also, one of the things it recommends you do is, if you use a flash drive to update your vehicle, is to format it before you write everything to the card from the software. Now I'm going to show you what that is. Now, the software does do a format, but sometimes based on reports of other people, they have issues. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to show you this perspective from the flash drive side of things. You can also do this with the SD card if you prefer, but I'm going to show you the version with the flash drive. It's pretty much the same exact process. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw the flash drive into the computer real quick. We're going to plug it in, and we are going to go to our File Explorer. And right here you see that you have two options here. One of those options is your hard drive. Don't screw with that at all. And your other option is your USB drive, which is what we just plugged in. So if we want to format this drive, all we have to do is right click on it, format, and then we have to select the format that we want to use, which is going to be exFAT. Make sure you choose exFAT, and you can leave the rest the same. Quick format is fine. It'll take forever if you don't do a quick format. And if you have issues trying to get the update working, you can go back and try a non-quick format, uncheck the box, and see if that works. But keep in mind, it could take up to an hour or so to format that flash drive. Now keep in mind that at this point, if you click start, you're erasing everything on that flash drive. It will be completely wiped. So make sure you're using a flash drive that is not used for any other backups or anything else that you want to keep. Everything will be wiped off that drive. So we're just going to go ahead and click that start button right here. It's going to say, are you sure? We're going to hit OK. It's going to take a few seconds, format complete. We also see here, after we close these windows, that the drive now has its full capacity. Okay, and one more thing I want to bring up about capacities of these drives. Now, if you have an older Hyundai vehicle, you'll notice that your car probably has like a 32 gigabyte SD card in there. You may still be able to get away with using that 32 gig. However, some vehicles actually require more space now, since the maps have gotten bigger, more stuff's been added, more features, so on and so forth. You may actually have to bump up to like a 64 gigabyte. Now, I know a lot of people are like, why would I buy a 64 gigabyte? I could just buy like a 256. It's like couple bucks more expensive, whatever. But keep in mind that there's also a lot of reports of people having issues with larger drives trying to do these updates. So if you can, try to use a SD card, and the same goes for your flash drive. Try to use one that is just about enough for the update to be done. If you don't have anything like that, or if you can't find anything like that, you can try something larger, but I highly recommend that you use something that's relatively close to the size that you need. And it will tell you in the application how big of a drive you will need, or how much capacity you will need to make this happen. And I will list some flash drives and some SD cards down in the description below for you to check out if you need it. All right, so at this point, you've made sure that you have the flash drive that you need, the SD card that you need. You made sure that you formatted the drive, you downloaded the navigation updater software, you've now installed that software, and now you've opened the software up. Now, the first thing it's going to bother you with is probably to log in. Now, if you haven't already had a Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis account, you'll have to create one real quick. If you already have one, like let's say you use your app on your phone, it should be the same account that you use for that application on your phone. So you should be able to log in with that account. If not, you'll have to create one and sign up for a quick account. It's really easy to do. Once you finish that, you'll get to this screen right here, which is the search by vehicle or model name. Now, you'll notice that this is actually the Genesis side of things. And the reason I'm here is because I'm actually going to be upgrading a Genesis vehicle. So I'm actually not doing a Hyundai. Like we said before, I downloaded this from the Hyundai website, but I'm actually going to be using this for Genesis. If you need to change this, you can actually just go into this little gear icon here, click that, and you can see you can just change the brand right here from Genesis to Kia or to Hyundai. And you could change the brand of the vehicle that you want to update. All right, so the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to do the process of downloading the software and getting it installed. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this list and look for the vehicle that we want to install. Now, once again, if you have a Hyundai, you're going to be looking at Hyundai vehicles here. If you have a Kia vehicles, obviously Genesis, we're looking at Genesis vehicles. So the vehicle that I'm going to be updating is going to be a G70, and it's a 2022. Very simple. It doesn't make it much easier than this. Now, some vehicles, depending on how many different versions of the vehicle, you might have a list of a few different ones there. Just make sure you're grabbing the right one. You can also search by the navigation system model here. You could type it in and it will give you the one that you need. And if you're wondering where you get that from, you actually get it from your in-car navigation. If you go into your settings and about, or general, I think it is, it will show you the navigation version. You can type that in here and it should give you the proper one, but it's just easier to do this by your make and model at this point. So we are going to click on the G70 2022. We're going to hit OK, and it's going to say, okay, where would you like to keep these files? I'm going to say onto the flash drive because I need it. Now here you'll see it has a data size. So you'll see right here, it shows data size 36 gigs. So in this case, if you happen to have a 32 gig SD card or flash drive, you're obviously not going to have enough space on there. You're going to need at least a 64 gig. 64 gig should be the biggest you'll ever need for any of these. But keep in mind that depending on how vehicles get in the near future, you may end up having to need something a little bit bigger than that. All right, so once we're satisfied with this and we've chosen the proper drive, which is our flash drive here, all we're going to do is hit the next button here. And it's going to get to the next screen. It's going to say confirm selection of portable storage device. And it's going to say the selected portable storage device has a size larger than 32 gigs, which it does. Please check if the hard drive has been selected as a portable device by mistake. And what that's basically saying is don't write this to your hard drive. You want to write this to the flash drive. That's pretty much what it's saying. And it says use this portable device. We're going to click yes. All right. And it says formatting that will delete all data on the portable device. D. Continue, yes. Once again, it's going to wipe everything on the drive, so if you didn't do it before, it's going to do it anyway. All right, and at this point, you can see that it is now downloading the software necessary onto your computer, and then it's going to transfer that to the flash drive. So you got to make sure you have enough space on your computer and also on your flash drive. So at this point, we have a little bit of time to kill, so we are just going to let it do its thing, and then we will touch base with it in a little bit and see where we're at. All right, well, here we are. We have the download complete. Latest version of the navigation software has been downloaded. So there we go. So if we could go ahead and open folder now, we can just click on this and you can see that it shows our USB drive here with all the information on it. In fact, this top file tells us exactly what it is, 2022 G70. So yep, perfect. So there you go. So that is the process to get it downloaded, get it installed onto your flash drive or SD card. And now you're ready to go and update your vehicle. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take our flash drive or SD card, we're going to run out to our vehicle, and we're going to go through the steps of doing the update through there. So let's go over there and see how it goes. All right, everybody. Well, you join me now in the 2022 Genesis G70. Beautiful car. Really like this car. Picked it up with my friend a little over a year ago when he bought it. Yep, so let's go ahead and take a look at the current navigation, where it's at, and then we'll see what we're updating it to. All right, so I went ahead and pulled up the menu here, the general software info updates area. And as we can see here, the firmware version is showing as 21.10.19. So as far as I can tell, this should be 2021 October 19th. So yeah, so it does look like it is a bit out of date. As far as I know, this has not been updated since it was bought. So it should be probably the original one. The software version up here looks like it is a little bit newer, 21.12.13. So yeah, so it looks like we have some updating to do on this vehicle. So let's go ahead and plug in the flash drive. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn the car off. It's very warm outside, but we're going to turn the car off first.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our flash drive that we got right here. We're going to plug it into this USB port. I believe this is the one that it should be. We're going to plug that in. And then we're going to go ahead and start the vehicle again. Let this system reboot. And right away, it pops right up. Update information. And we see here that it is 23/5/17. So May 17th of 23. Do we want to update? We're going to update right now. We're going to hit that button. It's going to say, press the start button to proceed with the audio system update. No other functions, including the rear camera and all audio, will be available during the update. It says about 45 minutes. And of course, you can hit details if you'd like to. But we're just going to go ahead and hit the... Actually, let's hit details. I'm curious. New and improved nature, sounds of nature, applying sound effects for each mode. So yeah, so a couple cool things here. If you're interested, you can always pause the video and take a look at them. But yeah, pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and hit the start update button right there. Preparing system update. Give this just a few more moments. And then we should start seeing some progress bars going across the screen. And then from there, it will take a little bit. It does say 45 minutes. I can't believe it's going to take that long, but we will find out. So let's go ahead and give it a timestamp here. It's about 2:34 right now. And I'm probably not going to sit in the car for the whole thing, but we'll see how it goes. All right, everybody. So now we boot up the car and it says, what's new? New software version, more information, hit the details. Let's hit details. Why not? And we go in here, says, yeah, here we go. So provides frequently visit charging stations information. This is like what we looked at before when we were initially getting the flash drive ready. So that is awesome to see. Let's go back, go into the general menu. And now we can see that the software version has been updated to May 17th of 23. So there we go. So we have officially gotten this vehicle updated. It did take a while. It was probably about an hour for it to do this vehicle. So that is pretty crazy to see that it takes that long. But you know what? As long as it works, that's all that matters. 230414, so the navigation app is updated as well. And of course, the software version, like we saw before, is updated. That is awesome. Shows an update date as of today, which is even better. And yeah, so there we go. All right, everybody. Well, there you go. So that is updating your Hyundai Genesis or Kia vehicle, depending on which one you have. As you can see, the process is pretty similar regardless of which vehicle you have. And, you know, it's pretty straightforward as long as everything works properly. Like, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it will work perfectly fine. Anyway, I'd like to thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope it helped you out. If it did, make sure you hit the thumbs up just below the video. Make sure you check us out on all our social medias down in the description below. And of course, check out any of the USB flash drives or SD cards down there as well. Thank you very much again for watching today's episode. And remember, welcome to the future and welcome to Tech Motoring. And we'll see you on the next update.